Hey everyone, welcome to Tathastu. I hope you all are doing good. Well, before starting this lecture, before starting this video, if I ask you a simple question, a question that according to you, who is India's biggest enemy? Some would say that it is Pakistan. Some could say that China is the biggest threat. Some could say that we have just defeated our biggest enemy and it was COVID-19. Okay? But there is a report which has been published by the Chicago University under the name EPIC study, and according to them, this is our biggest enemy. The air pollution which is there in South Asia, which is there in India, in Delhi, and cities nearby Delhi. Okay, so today we are going to talk about this particular report, this EPIC study under the name of EPIC study, which has been conducted by the Chicago University. We are going to see it comprehensively. What is air pollution and how is it affecting, and what are the recommendations which have been given by the WHO and under this report only, and what are the steps which have been taken by the government of India to deal with it. Other than this, we'll discuss one prelims question and a mains question also. Okay, so let's get started with this air pollution, with this our biggest enemy. So as I said, air pollution cuts the life expectancy by 5 years in South Asia, and this was under this study it has been said that this happens here. If we talk about India, particularly India, then in India it is 5.3 years size, and if we come to Delhi, then it is 11.9 years. So almost 12 years. The life gets reduced by 12 years in Delhi. That is why I've been saying this, and I've said this. I think this is the biggest enemy. Okay? So the air pollution reduces the life expectancy by over 5 years, and each person in South Asia. South Asia contributes to more than 50% of the global life years lost due to the pollution. Specifically due to the air pollution, 50% of the global life which is going and which has been taken by this air pollution, 50% of it is from the South Asia. The rapid industrialization and the pollution growth worsening the air quality. We'll discuss about the different causes. Two of the various causes is this rapid industrialization and population, because the area of South Asia, just yesterday when we were discussing, day before yesterday when we were discussing about global South, and while discussing about global South, we were just trying to compare the global North and global South, and we discussed how this area which is under the band line, this global South, which conducts Central Asia, which includes Southeast Asia, which includes South Asia. So these are the developing nations. Okay, specifically this South Asia, it's a developing nation. So the industrialization is quite rapid and it's going on, and because of that, this all air pollution problem is happening. So this is one of the problems. We'll discuss the problems later on in this lecture. So what is this? Specifically, we talked about the South Asia, and here the life expectancy gets reduced by 5 years. But if we talk about the countries which are getting impacted by it, specific countries, so the highly polluted nations, be it Bangladesh, India, Nepal, and Pakistan. And Bangladesh is the most polluted nation, because the life expectancy in Bangladesh, it get reduced by 6.9 years, I guess. Okay. In India, it is, as I've said, 5.3 years. In Nepal, it is around 4.9 years. In Pakistan, it is somewhere near that. Okay, we'll see that specific fact later on in this lecture. So Bangladesh experiences a loss of 6.8 years. I'm sorry, 6.8 years per person on an average. New Delhi, severely polluted mega cities, sees over 10 years of reduction of lifespan, and to be specific, it is 11.9. Okay, now what is how is this getting impacted? What is the impact of air pollution on our health? Okay, one thing is the life gets reduced and all these things happens, but other than this, it severely impacts our health, which which forces us to go for the healthcare facilities and go for all other things and go for life insurances, which eventually cuts the money which is in their pockets. Okay, so the air pollution can cause a variety of health problems, including respiratory disease, heart disease, and cancer. It's also linked to the premature death, and according to World Health Organization, WHO, this is one organization which we have read about for most number of times in last couple of years, in last 2-3 years, thanks to COVID-19. Because of that particular thing, we all have been waiting specifically for initial 3-4 months, 5 months, what is WHO is going to saying about COVID-19, and what is the trajectory of this. Can we fight it? Can we win it? So everything was dependent on the comments which is being given by the WHO, and we were relying on that. Okay, so that's why for last 2-3 years WHO is in very much in news. Okay, so the air pollution is world's largest single environmental health risk, causing an estimate 7 million premature death every year. 7 million premature death means around 70 lakh deaths every year. And this has been said by WHO, World Health Organization. Now, as we have talked about the countries which have been impacted and the impact of air pollution on our health, and which eventually leads to the monetary loss to ourselves. Now let's talk about the contributing factors to the air pollution. What are those factors which are causing this kind of air pollution? So number one is rapid industrialization. Okay, so this rapid industrialization of South Asia has led to the increase in the use of fossil fuel. And why are we using this fossil fuel? For what purposes? Okay, so now we have electric vehicles, and we are switching to that. We are switching to hydrogen fuels. Now everything, ethanol. We have just started using ethanol, and we'll blend it with our petrol, and we'll go on with that. And it has been estimated that it will reduce the air pollution and other things significantly. But until now, we are using these fossil fuels very excessively, and the use of fossil fuel has been for variety of purposes. Okay, for cooking, for transportation, for power generation, and power generation is one of the major source of the air pollution in South Asia. Specifically, the use of this fossil fuel is one of the major reasons for the generation of air pollution in South Asia and eventually in India. Okay. Another reason is population growth. Okay, so specifically in global South, it has been said, now this is the word global South I've been constantly using for last 5-6 days, because it's a new buzzword because of the BRICS and the expansion of the BRICS and the de-dollarization and everything which has been happening in the world, and which is the reality nowadays. So this global South, and it is expected that India is going to lead this global South, and we wish India lead it. So this word I've been using this consistently, and you will see this word again and again in your newspapers, in your magazines, and through the mouth of your teachers. Okay, so the population of South Asia is growing rapidly, which is putting a strain on the region's infrastructure and contributing to the air pollution. By putting strain to the region's infrastructure means you are excessively using transportation. As more number of cars, more number of bikes are there on the roads, there would be congestion, and eventually it will lead to more and more air pollution. As more and more water would be required, so maybe the quality of that water which will be used by the people of this particular region, that may get reduced. So eventually it will lead to the pollution, be it water pollution or air pollution. So it's a chain, and where everything is linked to another thing, and if not used properly, it could hamper the overall development, and it could lead to the air pollution and factors like this. Okay, so one is this rapid industrialization, and we talked about fossil fuel and the population growth. Other than this, there are other things such as open burning of the agricultural waste. Now we know the dynamics between between Delhi and Punjab. Okay, so there are paddy crops which have been burned in Punjab. So we have seen this, and we have been seeing this for last 4 or 5 years. For last couple of years after COVID, there has been a reduction of air pollution because of this, and significantly in general. But in 2017, 18, 19, these were the years when in Delhi, because I said we, because this video is getting recorded in Delhi. Okay, and I'm from Delhi, so it was very tough in the months of winter, in October, November, December, to just go out or to just able to see that what is happening 100 meters beyond where I'm sitting or where I'm standing. Okay, so this is a major problem, and one reason is the open burning of agricultural waste. It's a major source of air pollution in South Asia, especially during the winter months. As I've said, there's a dynamic situation between Punjab and Delhi. Another thing is traffic congestion. The traffic congestion is a major source of air pollution in South Asia, especially in urban areas. As I've said, that people are using, there's a strain, as now all these things are interrelated. Traffic congestion because of the growing population, because of unregulated or unsustainable population which has been there in the South Asia, specifically in the South Asia, because countries like Denmark, countries like Iceland, countries like Japan, they are facing acute stagnation at their facing this acute stagnation with their population. Even according to Elon Musk, this is going to be one of the catastrophic reasons for the decline of human population, because the Western countries and the countries who are on the northern side of the bandwidth, they are whom we call the global north. So there the population, and they, according to some are following one child policy. In China it was ordered by the government, but generally in Italy and in countries like this, there is one child policy. It has been accepted by the society that maybe people are not very much willing to go for the child, और या फिर जिस भी तरीके से है वहाँ पे, but population बहुत ज़्यादा आगे बढ़ नहीं रही है. And but in global south there is another way around. There is a population, there is an unregulated population, or there is a burden of population, and because of that there is traffic congestion. So there is a whole cycle, whole chain, and other things which are related to that traffic congestion, be it the overutilization of the resources, unsustainable utilization of the resources, excessive use of the fossil fuels. And as I've said, there is a chain where one link is attached to the another one, and eventually it is leading to the air pollution, specifically in the urban areas. Okay, now what are the consequences of this air pollution? So number one is reduced life expectancy. As we have seen, in Bangladesh it is 6.8 years have been reduced. In India 5.3 years have been reduced. In Delhi specifically 11.9. In Faridabad it is 11. In Gurgaon it is 11.2, I guess. So these are the numbers, and these are significant, heavy. If 50 years back, if there was a person who was living for 70 years, maybe he was contributing to the economy of India and to the economy of the South Asia till 60. According to our government and everyone, we get retired by 60, but there are other things which we can do, and we can contribute to the society and specifically to the economy, be it the tuitions, be it the farming, be it anything. Okay. But if the person is getting died 10 years before that, then how will he contribute to the society and to the economy? Okay. So the reduced life expectancy, the air pollution can reduce life expectancy by an average 5 years in South Asia. Increased healthcare cost, air pollution can lead to the increased healthcare cost, as people are more likely to suffer from respiratory disease and other health problems, as we have discussed this, lung problem or cancers or significant things like this. Now we have been talking about the consequences. Other consequences of air pollution is reduction of productivity. How the productivity will be reduced? The pollution can reduce the productivity, as people are more likely to be absent from work or from school due to illness. Okay, and I remember when there was a construction going on in my home. Okay, and we have asked this Mistri ji, this Raj Mistri, then when should we go on with the construction of the house? Okay, so he suggested that कि गर्मी में मत करवाना, प्रोडक्टिविटी कम हो जाती है, तो लेबर बार बार पानी पिएगी या वो बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान होगी. सर्दियों में करवाओगे तो वो भी ठीक रहेंगे, and eventually it will lead to the time, if a better efficiency, and it will save the time, and it will save the energy of the labor also. Okay. So these were the minute details which have been told by that Mistri. Now think about that. If summer and winter is causing such a significant impact in efficiency, there is a problem of air pollution, and eventually it is leading to respiratory disease and things like that. Don't think according to that labor, or from the perspective of that labor. We all are laborers at some at our things. Okay, so we have to contribute to the economy and to the society, and if we are facing the health issues, और मतलब काया नहीं रहेगी ठीक तरीके से, तो बाकी काम किस तरीके से हो पाए? So there is a reduction of productivity. Secondly, increased risk of premature death. Air pollution is a major risk factor for the premature death, and as I've said, premature death, if someone was living for 70 years, now it has been reduced. Even in India it has been reduced by 5.3, or in Delhi it has been reduced by 11 years. So from 70 to 60, then the whole point, his whole contribution of 30 years back from 60 to 70, in farming, in teaching, be it the emotional support to the family as a dadaji, as dadi, it is all gone. Okay, and this emotional support, this economic support of that particular age is very much important for any nation to grow efficiently and in a good manner. Okay, so now the question is, can we reduce this? Can we reduce this air pollution? So according to this report, which is published by University of Chicago, there is a significant example. There is an example of China. So China has successfully reduced the pollution by 42.3%. Okay, between these 7 years, 42.3%, showing that the potential for improvement, that yes, there is a potential of improvement, we can improve. And to migrate the adverse effects of the air pollution, the report underscores the importance of governments providing accessible air quality data. Okay? We need to have data, as we have said, as we have discussed already, that firstly, to solve a problem, you need to identify the problem. And to identify the problem, you need to have some data. Today, data is the new oil, data is everything. Those companies who are doing with data, and there are people who want to we will go on the other track. Let's right now. So what are the impacts of WHO guidelines? Okay, so there have been guidelines which have been given by the WHO. So WHO recommended that the levels of PM 2.5 concentration would extend the average life expectancy by 2.3 years, translating to a total 17.8 billion life years. So there would be a life saving of 17.8 billion years if you follow the WHO guidelines, which will save 2.3 years. Okay, on an average it will save 2.3 years. And while talking about specifically about some countries, so WHO also talked about specific countries. Okay? Impacting an annual PM 2.5 concentration of 5 micrograms per cubic meter. This could lead to a 3.9 years increase in life expectancy for the average resident of Pakistan, and 4.6 years of increase of the average resident of Nepal. Okay, so Nepal का 4.6% increase हो सकता है on an average, and Pakistan can increase it by how much? 3.9 years. Okay, and what needs to be followed? Only this thing. I was going to say this simple thing, but had it been so simple, it would have been followed. But the average annual PM 2.5 concentration of 5 micrograms per cubic meter needs to be followed. It needs to be followed. Okay. Now, as we have said that China has sort of conquered this from 2013 to 2021, within a span of 7 years, they've reduced the bad consequences by 42%. Okay. So can India also do this, or what is it which India is doing? There is a problem. We know this. This air pollution is our biggest enemy. But for that, what is government doing? And as an aspirant and as a future civil servant, you should know that what is the role of government to reduce or to tackle a problem. So initiatives taken by the India for controlling air pollution. Number one is SAFAR, which we call System of Air Quality, Weather Forecasting and Research. So it's a portal, and it has been the full form of this SAFAR is this. So this portal provides real-time information on air quality in India, and it also provides forecast of the air quality. Now, if you have, as we have said, as we have discussed earlier also while discussing about the Himachal Pradesh thing and the disasters which are there in the Himalayan regions, be it Uttarakhand, be it Himachal Pradesh. So one thing was to be aware of what is happening. Okay? So here also, if you are aware, be it the landslides, be it the earthquake or the cyclones, if you are aware of it, then you are able to prepare yourself in a better manner. Similarly, here also, if you can, with the help of this SAFAR portal, if you are able to identify the problem, and if you can see that what is coming towards you, then you will be able to prepare yourself. So one thing is this, which has been done by the government of India. Other than this, there is Air Quality Index, AQI. This index is used to measure the air quality. So there is a number from 0 to 500. So 0 would represent the cleanest air which is there in that particular city or in that particular region. 500 would say that situation is very grave, and unfortunately sometimes in Delhi it goes beyond 500. So yes. Other than this, Air Quality Index and SAFAR, there is third is Graded Response Action Plan, GRAP. This plan outlines the steps that can be taken to reduce the air pollution at different levels of severity. Okay, so this is a particular emergency scenario. It's an emergency tool. Whenever this particular air quality, this index or these numbers go beyond 300, 400 or something like that, so at every number, at every variation, there is a plan, graded response action plan, and it will be executed, it will be implemented. Okay, this is that. Other than this, fourth thing is BS4 vehicles. So these vehicles can emit lower levels of pollutants other than the older vehicles, and they are being phased in across India to help reduce air pollution. So to reduce the air pollution, one thing which we talked about is the traffic congestion, and because of that traffic, the petrol or the diesel which is getting burned, and eventually it is leading to air pollution. Okay. But if you are using these BS4 grade vehicles, then there is a chance of in comparison to the older vehicles, there is a chance that the pollution which will be emitted from that would be very much less. Okay, so these were the responses, these were the things which have been taken, actions which have been taken by the government of India. And we discussed about China, how China is doing it in a better way. We discussed about the WHO guidelines, that if those guidelines are being followed, then there is a chance that 2.3 years of life on an average could be saved, and particularly in Pakistan and Nepal, there is a possibility of a better result. We talked about the severity of this report also. Okay, now let's look at a question of prelims. So in the cities of our country, which among of the following atmospheric gases are normally considered in calculating the value of air quality index? So these are this was a question from 2016 prelims. Okay, so it's a PYQ, previous year question, and these are your options कि air quality index में क्या क्या चीजें आती हैं. 5 options are carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbon nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide and methane. Okay, so choose a correct option. तो क्या है इसमें से आंसर? Actually the correct answer is this 2, 3 and 4B, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide. Let me tell you something about this. What is this air quality index? So in air quality index there are broadly 6 AQI categories. Okay, and these are satisfactory, then moderate, moderately polluted, poor, very poor, severe. So these are the 6 phases of this air quality index, and there are total 8 pollutants which are considered as a part of it. So the index measures 8 major pollutants, namely particulate matter PM10, PM2.5. Other than this, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, ozone, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, okay, and sulfur dioxide. So these are the things. I've said sulfur dioxide twice, I guess. So these are the things. This was a question which was there from 2016 in prelims. Other than this, there is a mains question also. Okay, so this is the mains question. It's divided in 3 parts. They are not 3 questions. This is a big question, quite big in length, and it is being divided in 3 parts. Okay. Describe the key points of the revised Global Air Quality Index AQGs recently released by the World Health Organization WHO. Okay, so one part is this. Second is, how are these different from the last update in 2005? So there was one recommendation which has been given in 2005, and then there was a change by the WHO. So you have to tell how is this different from that, and what is this WHO. And third, what changes in India's National Clean Air Program are required to achieve revised standards? Okay? For these revised standards, or there are efforts which have been taken by the government of India. How can we enhance it? How can we consolidate it in a better way, in a more systematic way? Okay, so this is a thing. Try to, this is a question, and if you are not, I know most of you might not answer it in your copies, but for the mains, there is one thing is, even if you have to write it or just write it in your brain. Okay, so just prepare a good structure of this. Try to think about air pollution and its impact through different dimensions. Okay, try to incorporate the examples of what can be done through various states or various countries. As I've said, when you're writing your mains answer, please try to put forward those options which have been taken, which have been getting followed. Okay, be it in the states of India, or be it somewhere other country. Okay, specifically in the countries of global south, in South Asia, because the dynamics of India and the countries which are there in South Asia are more or less similar. So maybe those recommendations could fit the needs of India. Okay, and try to think this particular answer, this air pollution and its impact and its possible solution from different dimensions. So we'll meet in the other class. Until then, take care. Bye bye.